You've already explained that the Prophet married Aisha.
Jesus did not marry a 6-year-old girl.
Are you really comparing that with the killing of a child?
You also call Prophet the greatest example.
Anyway, it's done now. There's nothing more one can say. It's done. It's finished.
So let's have a chat. We've never met.
Why you're not going on
Street Mike? If you look at the camera,
It's the same standard. It's why little girls are dying today.
What's your name?
It's why little girls are dying today.
So Muhammad.
Because they're following this example.
For 2,000 years, your church have killed and abused even boys.
As we see, there's so many misconceptions that people have of the religion of Islam.
And you want
They try and
popularity.
deplete the nuances from the religion of Islam
I couldn't
by
care less about
attacking,
popularity.
not listening,
I couldn't care less about
not
followers.
engaging.
I'm not here
But
for
then when we
friends.
put
I'm not
the
here for
arguments
snobs.
to them,
I'm
we
not
realize
here
that they
for
don't really have much
I'm
to
here
offer.
about the truth.
So this is a place where we make our
I'm here
arguments.
about the truth.
We believe we have the strong
And
one.
it's all about
Even the most,
Only Jesus
what we
can
would
save you.
consider the most antagonistic
Muhammad will take
interrogations
you
of
to
the religion
hell.
of Islam,
But
we're
Jesus
able to
will take
answer
you to
them.
heaven.
And now he's heckling.
It's all about
He's heckling.
Jesus.
He has resorted to heckling.
You're trying to justify
Not you.
taking it out of context. Taking number 31. Taking it out of
If you
context.
don't want popularity, why do you
Taking
keep
it.
coming into my cameras, brother?
Couldn't care less
We're
about
done with that.
popularity.
We're finished.
Couldn't care less about
We
popularity.
don't need you anymore.
But Islam will turn on you.
Okay, great.
All your followers
Yeah.
will
So
turn
if you
on
look into
you.
the camera, so
Let it be recorded.
moving on.
Your followers
How
will turn
long
on
have
you.
you been coming down here?
On and off for about
I
6
don't
or
need
7
any
years.
declaration.
6 or 7 years, I think. 6 years.
So during that time,
I'm here.
I'm led to believe you have a channel.
Correct, yes.
Talk to me about Jesus.
How many followers?
Talk to me about Jesus.
I don't know, he knows more about my
No. It's not about followers. I'm just getting to a point, yeah.
He knows
How many
more about my
followers-
popularity than I do, you know?
No. So over the years, how many followers
know that's what you want.
have you managed to
I know that your
accumulate?
ego is,
Let's
you need that ego
pretend I have a
massaging.
big ego. It doesn't mean Christianity is true.
No. But
Even if I was the worst man in the world, even if I was the worst man in the world with the biggest ego and the hugest, the most ferocious appetite for popularity, it wouldn't make Islam false and it wouldn't make Christianity true.
Coming back to my point,
Nothing you can
in
do
regards
can
to your
affect the truth.
followers,
The truth
how
is
many
the truth.
followers over the last 6 years have you managed to accumulate?
Is that because you want to know for your own channel?
There you go.
No, the reason I'm asking you the question, sir,
He's going to get jealous, this man.
The reason
This man needs to know that jealousy is a dangerous game,
Very
especially
dangerous.
if you play
It
with
is
me.
dangerous.
surely if people follow you, they must believe
smiling,
in
huh?
what you are saying.
Me?
Yeah, so they must believe
Not
in your
necessarily.
argument.
He's following me. He's an avid fan. He doesn't believe a single word I say.
So, but tell me, in regards to Speaker's Corner, what is it about this place that attracts so many different people speaking about religion? What is it specifically here? Is it because you can engage?
I'll be honest with
others?
you, my friend. What's your name?
Sorry, my name is Wendell Daniel from Street Mike.
Okay, that's
No, sorry, my name is Wendell Daniel, and what I
From
like
Street
to do,
Mike, yeah?
Street Mike, and what I like
Mike,
to do,
yeah.
I like to engage with
No,
people
I
and ask them
understand.
questions.
Look, the thing is, that we as Muslims, when it comes to mainstream media, I had a conversation with the BBC right here over there. I was having a conversation.
Streaming now.
When we get into mainstream media, it's always a narrative that's not ours. It's always, we are fitted within the greater hegemonic narratives of the powers that be. In this place, they have not been able to manipulate our speech. What we're saying is unfiltered. When we overpower our enemies, not through ourselves, but because we have stronger argumentation, that is allowed to be broadcast. And that's been happening now to a point of great frequency with different people here. And the reason why Sunni Muslims in particular have been able to get the kind of following in this place as it has, and they have been able to do what they've been doing, is simply because it's a bit like survival of the fittest, okay? The best ideas, they raise to the top. I've not seen a single person in 6 years of coming to Speaker's Corner convert to Christianity in this place. Not one person.
And why do you think that is?
Because it's a false faith.
Hey, yeah, right.
Honestly,
Yeah, right.
People are disillusioned
That's why you keep lying.
with the idea of the Trinity, idea that God is man, that the Bible is from God. And
The
they're
amount
seeing
of Muslims
kinds
who email us saying
fallacy.
that we're out,
Fallacy of
we're out of this this cult.
See, look,
out.
it's interesting that he references the emails that he gets of Muslims leaving, not Christian people becoming Christian.
But I'm not interested in him. I'm interested in you.
Yes.
What advice would you give for those who are considering the possibility of coming down to Speaker's Corner to engage just like yourself? What advice would you give to those?
I'd give the advice that, look, you have to have your arguments ready, especially if they're from our side. We have a verse in the Quran where Abraham, it says, وَتِلْكَ حُجَّتَنَا آتَيْنَاهَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ عَلَى قَوْمِهِ, that these are our arguments that we gave to Abraham against his people. So we believe that, having arguments, having the sharpened sword arguments, coming to Speaker's Corner is a prerequisite. And at the end of the day, if one doesn't, because look, this man came to me, I didn't come to him. He came to me with a series of hunches and anecdotes. I'm giving you the guys talking about this happening in the Muslim world and that's whatever. And then when he's confronted, and then when he's confronted with a range of sociological arguments, theological arguments, scriptural arguments, and philosophical arguments, he's left to conclude, for example, that Jesus Christ can command to kill a child. That's okay, but the Prophet marrying Aisha at a certain age after he waited for her to be ready, that's not okay.
You're conflating the Israelites being at war in the Old Testament.
I hear you, but final question. What can be done to encourage more women to come here to debate?
I think people like this have to leave the park, because people like me and you, the handsome ones, they can come. But I'm only kidding. But, I think the reason why women are not, attracted to this is because of the vulgarity associated with it.
There's too many men.
Yeah, inhospitable environment. You have people...
Too much violence.
Yes.
In the heads.
Oh, yes. And people, and not only that, people provoking other people as well.
Okay, to violence, yes?
Yeah, provocations
from the religion of peace.
But thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Very welcome.
But earlier on,
yes,
you said you're now going to sum up with your team. Why is that bit, the summary, important?
A summary is always important because if you can't say something in a few words, you can't say it at all. Albert Einstein himself, he defined genius as being able to take a complex idea and summarize it in very important points. So the summaries that we leave for the people at the end of our discussions, actually, and in fact in psychology there's something called recency effect, primacy effect and recency effect. A recency effect is the impression someone is left with at the end of a discussion. So people tend to remember the beginning and the ends of something. As we have seen today, the beginning of my argumentation and the end of this man's career.
Hold on a second. I don't want popularity. And so, talking about the end of career, let's talk about the holes in the narrative. Let's talk about that from last year.
No problem. Let's talk about the holes in the narrative.
Yeah.
The biggest hole of the narrative we've seen today is when a man says that having intercourse with a person of a certain age, which is disputed, might be morally unacceptable, but then says that killing a child can be acceptable if Jesus commands to it. I think that's a big hole in the narrative of infallibility, of biblical inerrancy.
God who gives life and God takes away life.
Yes. So Jesus can kill who he likes. God can kill.
The greatest example.
God can rape.
So, God doesn't do that.
He can command to it as well.
God doesn't do that.
Anyway.
And he never mentioned that in the scriptures. He never mentioned that. We've covered that.
He did this for even the animal. Kills the cattle, kills the animal.
That's God.
Does the baby against rock.
That's God.
That he's God.
In the Old Testament.
The blessing is the one who does it.
So
he doesn't do it himself.
The little girls are dying today.
This is why people leave Christianity.
Little girls
they look
are
at the
dying
Amalekites.
today.
Don't leave in anything that breathes.
The little girls
There's no
are
verse in the
dying
Quran
today.
equivalent to that. There's
Because
no verse in the Quran.
teachings.
There is no
Because of your
verse in the
teachings.
Quran equivalent to
The little
kill
girls are
the
dying
men,
today.
the women, the livestock,
Because of
and
your
even the
teachings.
donkeys.
Burn everything.
Child brides
Burn
of Islam.
everything. Kill everything.
Little
Burn
girls.
everything.
Kill the
And
donkey.
he dared to talk.
You care
And
more
he dared
about
to talk.
donkeys than little girls.
And his church.
You care more about donkeys
Imagine how you would have
than
to
your
kill
own
the
little
donkey.
girls.
Imagine it, please.
He's a church.
Ladies and gentlemen.
For the last 2,000 years,
Imagine,
they abuse everyone.
Imagine, what's your name, brother?
Yahya.
Imagine the situation
Focus, Yahya.
where someone's going around with a knife, the donkey's minding his own business, and he gets stabbed in the stomach.
love the donkeys than the little girls. The little girls in the Islamic world. You care more about them.
The worst. His salvation is dependent about the killing of his own son. The father, he forsake his own son.
That's
And
right.
without
That's
blood,
right. That's
no
right.
blood, no
For your
salvation.
sin and
See
for
how
my sin.
Dracula, a
That's
bloody
right.
God he has.
For your sin.
See how
for my
bloody
sin.
God he has.
I
As
like it.
opposed to
Very well done, very
kissing
well
a
done.
black stone.
Anyways.
As if that's going to give you as if
Thank
that's
you,
going to
man.
forgive you your sin. God
You're right.
gave his son, all right. God gave his
It's
son,
more
all right.
merciful
Yeah,
than
exactly.
this killing your own
exactly.
son.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a bit of peace.
Give me 2 minutes. Where have you been for the last month or so?
Sorry. Okay. See you then.
Hey, take me picture with more, man. I just keep following you, man. I really do. I just keep following you, man. I like you intellectually.